Bienvenidos and welcome to today's lesson on los Parataxonomos de Costa Rica, the Parataxonomists of Costa Rica. Lección. Today we will be learning about a unique type of scientist called a parataxonomist who specializes in identifying and classifying unknown species. Parataxonomy as a profession was started in Costa Rica. Our learning objectives for the day. At the end of this lesson, students will be able to explain the role that Costa Rican parataxonomists play in conservation biology and define and use terms related to biodiversity and taxonomy. But before we learn more about Costa Rica, let's first learn about biodiversity. What is biodiversity? Biodiversity is short for biological diversity, and biodiversity is simply all of the life on planet Earth. Biodiversity is everything from bacteria to fungi to animals to plants and ecosystems as well. So forests, deserts, oceans, and even us, of course, humans, are part of biodiversity. The life that we live is made possible by biodiversity. The water we drink, the air we breathe, the food we eat, even some of the medicines we take when we're sick come from biodiversity. It's a part of who we are. Let's have a quick check for understanding. Answer true or false to the following statement. Biodiversity includes all of the life on planet Earth. This is a true statement. Yes, biodiversity does include all of the life on planet Earth. Now let's learn a little bit more about Costa Rica. Situated between the North and South American continents, Costa Rica has served as a bridge of countless species of animals and plants for thousands of years. Though Costa Rica accounts for only 0.03% of the Earth's surface, it contains nearly 6% of the world's biodiversity. Its natural wealth, both in species and ecosystems, is partly explained by its geographical position. Let's have another check for understanding. Costa Rica is located between the continents of North and South America. Why might the location of Costa Rica explain the high percentage of biodiversity in that country? Use the following sentence structure to answer the question. I think the geographical position of Costa Rica results in high levels of biodiversity because. Take a few moments to answer the question. We will be discussing your hypotheses about Costa Rican biodiversity and geographical location together in class at another time. Let's move on to taxonomy. What is that? Now that we know a little bit more about diversity of Earth, how do we know what kind of life exists on Earth, and how do we know what to call it? Well, that is taxonomy, the science of naming and classifying species. This particular species is commonly known as Baird's tapir. Its scientific name is Tapirus bairdii. Taxonomy. Here's our vocabulary. Taxonomy is the science of naming, describing, and classifying organisms based on similarities. Organisms include all plants, animals, fungi, and microorganisms of the world. A common name is the everyday name used for an organism. Butterfly, for example, is a common name. Scientific name is a Latin binomial name that follows a strict set of rules and is agreed upon by the scientific community. For example, Morphopallades is the scientific name for a blue morpho butterfly. We'll be learning more about Latin binomials and the rules that we must apply in a future lesson. Let's have another check for understanding. True or false? Blue morpho butterfly is a scientific name. Well, in fact, that is false. To make the statement true, Morphopallades is a scientific name. Let's now learn a little bit more about parataxonomy. Costa Rica has such high levels of biodiversity that many professionals are needed to help identify, classify, and protect the vast amount of diverse organisms. However, the country does not have enough money nor time to train university graduates at a PhD level to conduct Costa Rica's massive biological inventory. The rural jungle, forest, and coastal towns of Costa Rica have many highly capable yet underemployed adults. In 1989, conservation biologists in Costa Rica started training rural Costa Ricans in their native ecosystems. The rural Costa Ricans learned biology topics including ornithology, the the study of birds, herpetology, amphibians and reptiles, entomology, the study of insects, botany, plants, as well as natural history, taxonomy, evolution, ecology, genetics, and anatomy. Let's have another quick check for understanding. Costa Rican parataxonomists are trained in local universities. Well, this is a false statement. To make it true, Costa Rican parataxonomists are actually trained in their local ecosystems. Now we'll take a moment to watch a video about local parataxonomists in Costa Rica.
In Puesto San Gerardo, Costa Rica, parataxonomists like Elda Herrera and Carolina Caño worked to create a database categorizing all species of moth and butterfly. This includes gathering caterpillars and studying them until the point of metamorphosis. Strung out across a tin-roof barn, hundreds of caterpillars hang in plastic sacks, organized according to species and plants they eat. The caterpillars are stored with leaves to munch on, unique to each caterpillar's diet. Every 5 days, a parataxonomist like Gloria Cehazar or Osvaldo Espinosa will replace those leaves with a fresh supply gathered from the local forest. The repetitive process of inspecting the plastic bags includes cleaning out the waste and separating parasite-infested caterpillars for further studies. After a morning of changing leaves, the parataxonomists supply the foliage needs to be replenished, so at lunch they compose a list of plants needed to gather in the afternoon. Similar to a person shopping for groceries, these parataxonomists trudge through the jungle, picking leaves and crossing items off their list. To the untrained eye, this rainforest looks like a sea of green trees and shrubs. To Espinosa, every plant is viewed differently, and only certain types will suffice for picking. If a caterpillar is fed a leaf that they don't eat in the wild, they will die in captivity. Some of these plants are only found along specific riverbanks or other locations. When their shopping is done, they return to the research station and organize their findings. Some of the fresh leaves goes toward feeding the parasites, as well as other larvae. When finished for the evening, the parataxonomists put their supplies away and head home to rest before returning in the morning to start the cycle over again.
Over the past 30 years, the parataxonomists of Costa Rica have identified over 10,000 new species and have helped contribute to conservation biology of one of the most diverse places on Earth.